everyone, and welcome to Second Take. I'm your host, Deanna Howell.
And I'm Matt Parmesan, a producer and sports analyst.
Matt, can you tell me a little bit about what we'll be talking about today?
Yeah, of course. Today we're going to talk about the 6-0 Carolina Panthers,
Right.
whether Cam Newton is a legit MVP candidate, and we're also going to give our picks on the World Series and which NBA player we start an NBA franchise with. Also, we're going to have Demetrius Tiller join us to talk about the homecoming game against Shaw.
That sounds great. Let's join the crew at the desk.
Let's do it.
We are joined at the desk with Darren Eastman and Desert Grooms. Let's get it going. The Carolina Panthers are 6-0, and quarterback Cam Newton is leading the way. Are the Panthers for real? Is Cam Newton a legit MVP candidate?
The Panthers are for real, and Cam is a legit MVP candidate. The Panthers have one of the best defenses in the league, led by Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis. Josh Norman's playing like one of the best corners in the game right now. And Jared Allen just recently was signed. He's going to help with the pass rush. They're going to get Charles Johnson back. So I'm not worried about the defense at all. The only thing that kind of concerns me is the offense. And that's mainly because we don't really have many weapons at the wide receiver spot. But I feel like Cam Newton can overcome that. If any quarterback can do it, it's Cam, because he's just such a dynamic player. He can run the ball. He can, he's got Greg Olsen on his side as well. So I think Cam can overcome it. He's really matured and he's progressed a lot as a quarterback. He's making good reads. And he's just a lot more consistent now. So the Panthers are for real.
And what I'm going to do, I'm going to answer your first question first. Are the Panthers for real? I look at is water wet? Does peanut butter goes with jelly? I feel like that's obvious. I feel like the Panthers have shown in the past since 2013, actually, when they lost to San Francisco in the divisional playoffs when they went 12-4. The Panthers had a great year. They lost to San Francisco. That's when San Francisco was peaking. Last year, they started off slow but picked up at the end. And I feel like right now they're riding a perfect wave. Right now their defense is ranked number 6 right now in the NFL, led by Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis, Star Lotulelei, and emerging Josh Norman and Kawann Short. So I look at the defense. I think that's something that everybody already know. But the questions were the receivers and offensive line. I feel like with the left tackle signing Michael Orr and the 2 emerging young guards that we have, I feel like they have done a very awesome job shoring up the offensive line. And so nobody's talking about the offensive line anymore. Now the receivers now. And Cam Newton is doing an amazing job spreading the ball around with the loss of Kevin Benjamin. So I feel like who's doing less, Cam Newton's doing so much with less that other quarterbacks aren't doing. He's doing a great job. So is he a MVP candidate? I definitely think so.
I agree with y'all. I feel like the Panthers are for real. They have a top 5 defense, a nice running game. Josh Norman is stepping it up. The only thing to worry about the receivers, I feel like Devin Funchess has to step it up on second-round pick. He has to do more. As far as the MVP, I feel like he should be in the conversation, but he's not going to win it because of his stats. He doesn't have any receivers really. He leads the team in rushing touchdowns. So I feel like he should definitely be in the conversation.
That's great.
Like you said, he leads the team in rushing touchdowns, and obviously he leads the team in passing touchdowns because he's the quarterback. If you take Cam Newton away from that offense, what do you have? Honestly, you don't really have much at all.
Who has less than him on offense? We have Greg. I think the Panthers have Greg Olsen, but who else do they have? I feel like every quarterback at least has better.
Jonathan Stewart can run. He's got a good line.
Yeah.
But a lot of what Jonathan Stewart does is helped out by the threat of Cam Newton running.
Good point.
So with that option, Cam is opening up a lot of lanes for Jonathan Stewart and even for Mike Tolbert. So Cam is he's the entire offense. So for me, he gets my MVP vote. Stats are nothing.
Right, so we say he is a potential candidate for MVP. Do you guys think there will be any competition with Cam Newton?
Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers.
I agree, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
But their quarterbacks, their stats, like Cam Newton's so different from your prototypical quarterback that most of the time people probably look at 4,000, 4,500 passing yards, and they look at it like that's the quarterback mark for MVP. And Cam Newton's not going to reach that because he might give you about 3,400 passing yards, but about 800 rushing yards and plus more touchdowns on the ground. So his game is so different. It's something that the NFL isn't used to seeing right now. So it's probably he might not get one till later, but he has probably won a Super Bowl because some people still doubt him still.
Right.
So, but right now I say Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. What y'all said.
I agree with you guys. And just one more stat. On Monday night against the Eagles, he rushed for a touchdown and passed for a touchdown for the 28th game of his career. He's only the second quarterback in NFL history to do that.
That's awesome.
So Cam Newton's for real and the Panthers are for real.
Right. The MLB World Series features a matchup between the Kansas City Royals and New York Mets. Which team will win? Darren, you want to start us off?
Sure. The Kansas City Royals, who finished with a 95-67 record, has one of the best records in baseball. Had a great year. Awesome. They were returning this World Series from last year. Last year, they lost to the Giants. So I really feel like they have like a lot of motivation, and they still like feel some kind of way about losing last year. So I feel like they want to go in and get a payback and win this World Series. They have a better bullpen, in my opinion. They don't have the better starting pitching. I feel like the New York Mets have a great starting pitching, but I don't feel like their bullpen is strong. Usually when the starting pitching goes out, the Mets usually go down, but also the Mets are very hot right now. So that's kind of making me not sure about my pick, but the team that's been very consistent and I trust since last year to this year is definitely the Kansas City Royals. So that's who I'm going with.
I think I'm going to go with the Mets. They're the best pitcher by far. And that's the most important factor in baseball. They're in the hot streak, like you said, and also the big bats of David Wright and Daniel Murphy. The last couple of games definitely I think will give them the edge.
Yeah, I'm with Darian. I like the Royals, but I might have to go with the Mets. Like Desert, because the Mets, they do have the best starting pitching staff in baseball. The best starting pitching staff that I've seen in years, led by Matt Harvey and Jacob deGrom. And they just, the main question for them all year had been their offense. And they bolstered that when David Wright came back and Yoenis Cespedes was added. And then David Murphy's just playing out of his mind right now. And so if he can stay hot and kind of help carry that offense, the pitch is going to take care of itself. And the Mets are going to do it.
Right. So if we have two more teams besides the Mets and the Kansas Royals, do you guys think they have any more competition out of the two of them?
It's the Mets and the Royals. The Mets and the Royals are the two teams at the end, and they've got the two best pitching staffs in the game overall, if you ask me. And like Desiree said, pitching is the most important factor. So you've got to go with the Mets and the Royals.
I agree.
I get the edge to the Mets.
The Mets. Okay. Well, we still got more debate question. Sorry. We've still got one more debate question, but first, let's go to Demetrius Dillard as he gives us his prediction for the WSSU's football homecoming game against Shaw.
Thank you, Deanna. The Rams ranked number 1 in the Southern Division at 3-0. They had a perfect 500 record at 4-4, and they're on a 3-game winning streak. They seem to be finding their rhythm. On offense, you have Rod Tinsley, who's developing his chemistry with receivers Rashawn Williams and Marcel Cava. In addition, you have running backs who are performing well, Xavier Quick and Tyree Massey. And the Rams' defensive unit is led by Michael Bloomfield, defensive lineman who's leading the Rams in tackles this season. I believe the Rams' defense will be too much for the winless Shaw Bears, who are 0-8. And the final score is going to be 38-7, and that's being generous because the Shaw Bears are ranked 10th in the CIAA in defense, giving up 30.4 points per game. So 38, that's actually being generous too. They may score more, but I'm saying at least 38-7. Rams are coming out on top at the highly anticipated homecoming game. Back to you, Deanna.
Thanks, Demetrius. Now to the closing question. In a poll of all 30 NBA general managers, 86% said they'd take New Orleans Pelicans power forward Anthony Davis to start a franchise. Who would you guys actually choose?
Oh, that's tough. That's a tough question. So what I did was I did eliminate, and I looked at all the great players in the NBA. I look at LeBron James, like he's 30 years old. So obviously everybody knows he's the best player in the game right now. And some people might feel however they feel about it, but LeBron James, you got to play one game right now, win a game. LeBron James can get on your team and make your team better. Put him on the Charlotte Hornets, for example. They're an NBA title contention team. So, but LeBron James, 37 years old. Anthony Davis is 22 years old. So you probably have about 4 or 5 great more years of LeBron James, but you'll probably only have about another 13 years of Anthony Davis. So it was like, I look at it like that, but then I look at it, I don't want people to forget that Kevin Durant is only 27 years old. Steph Curry is 27 years old. And Kevin Durant, you can put him on any team. He does the same thing, just his problem with being hurt. So if I had to go with anybody right now, I think the popular choice is Anthony Davis, Steph Curry, but I believe that Kevin Durant still has it. He was just MVP a couple years ago before he got hurt. 6'10". I feel like his potential is higher than Steph Curry's and Anthony Davis. So some people, y'all might have different opinions,
Right.
but that's who I'll go with, Kevin Durant.
All right, see, I like the Kevin Durant pick, but the thing that kept me from picking him was his foot injury that he dealt with last year. You know, I'm not sure how he's going to come back from that, and you know whether there's going to be lingering effects from that in his career. So I'm going to have to go with Anthony Davis. You know, LeBron James is the best player in the world right now, and if it was for a season, I would go with LeBron because I think he makes teams better, you know, more better than any player that I've ever seen in history. You know, the way he can carry a team. I think Anthony Davis can get to that level though, and if you're starting a franchise, you got to go with the young guy. Anthony Davis is 23 years old. Last season, he averaged 25 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 blocks a game. The only player to do that in his 22-year-old season since Shaq. And he's just going to keep getting better. He's adding the corner three to his arsenal this year. He's putting on weight. He's extremely athletic, can play both ends, and he's got so much room to grow. You got to go with Anthony Davis.
Can I ask you a question real quick? Do you feel like the league is going more guard oriented? Like now that more guards are winning more NBA championships. In the past, in the 80s and 90s, it was always dominated by big men. You know, the Jordan era, but before then it was always great big men. Now the winners are usually LeBron Jameses, the Steph Currys, Tony Parkers.
It is.
Like, do you feel like how you
It is,
feel about that?
yeah, and I agree with you. But the thing with Anthony Davis is he can run the floor, he can finish on the break. You know, it's becoming a fast break league.
Right.
But Anthony Davis is a big man that can, you know, he can protect the paint on the defensive end and he can run on the offensive end. So I think, you know, he's not going to be one of those big men that's kind of, you know, going to become obsolete like a lot of the other guys. I think Anthony Davis is here to stay, and I think he's going to be the best player in the league within the next 2-3 years, and just keep on rising.
I'm about to go with Westbrook. He carried his team last year when Durant got hurt. Like you said, he carried him like one game away from the playoffs last year. He was in the MVP race to the very end. He was NBA scoring champ last year, and he's great on offense and defense, and he led the league in triple doubles last year with 11. So I think I'll go with Russell Westbrook instead.
It's just the thing that scares me about Russell Westbrook. As great as he is, he's my favorite player on 2K, by the way, too. But my favorite thing about Westbrook that scares me is what makes him great is the same thing that made Allen Iverson great, like his heart, his toughness. And how long can you do that for without your body breaking down? Look at Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade played the same exact way. And look at he's now. He's 33, 34, around that age, and his body's starting to break down. He's still great, and people respect him, but he's not that elite person everybody expect him to be. Much of LeBron James left, I'm not sure if he can still carry a team like he once did. He might need a little bit of help. So what makes me scared is I think he got about 5-6 more years of elite, but he gets around 30 years old. I feel like his body gonna start breaking down because right now he is his athleticism.
That's how Kobe was too. Until he learned his jump shot. So I feel like Westbrook develops a consistent three, then he'll be all right.
See, I agree with Desert. You know, well, I mean, I see where you're coming from with his athleticism kind of diminished, but I think Russell Westbrook. There's not been a guy since Kobe that has had that kind of drive and that kind of just hate to lose type thing. And Westbrook's going to want to be on top, and he wants to be the best. Like what I've always liked about him is even though he's had Kevin Durant, he's not going to take a back seat, even though everybody tells him he should. Westbrook feels like I think deep down he feels like he's the best player on that team. And that's the kind of mentality you need to be great. You know, Westbrook's great, and I would start a franchise with him too, but I still go with Anthony Davis.
It's all right. I love you, Westbrook. You was in my top 4.
So, Desmond, you would choose Westbrook, but we're going to go for Anthony Davis.
I'm going Anthony Davis.
I'm going Kevin Durant.
Oh, okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Second Take. I am your host, Deanna Howell.
I'm Matt Parmesan.
I'm Darren Eastman.
I'm Desert Brown.
Have a nice evening.
Make sure everybody eats.